By the way, welcome to start it again. Welcome to Inside the Upside Down. I'm Mike Ricksecker, author and ghost historian. With me is Shana, our lovely chat Shananigator from Edge of the Rabbit Hole. This is your Edge of the Rabbit Hole after hour show, otherwise known as Inside the Upside Down. Tonight we're going to be talking about EVP, spirit communications, voices from the dead, and other things that we capture on audio when we are investigating the paranormal. So, one of the things that I forgot at the end of the last show was to let you guys know, and to make the, I guess, little announcement or whatever you want to call it, that Rob Guttrow, our guest from Edge of the Rabbit Hole tonight, is actually going to be at our Haunted Road Media Paracon on June 9th. So he'll be speaking about pets in the afterlife, which is kind of a big thing that he talks about. He has two books, Pets in the Afterlife and Pets in the Afterlife 2. A lot of people are very interested in that, but all of his books will be available there with him, and he will be speaking at our Paracon June 9th. So be sure to be there, Alton, Illinois, Mineral Springs Mall. We all will be. All right. And they're saying, yeah, they heard you say yeah earlier. So fantastic. All right. Here we go. So, EVPs. Now, what was kind of interesting was when we put out the promo material and the banners and all that for this show tonight, got a message from Dennis Eslock. Dennis Eslock does investigations out in Virginia. He's good friends with Gwen Clapper, BPI, that whole crew out there. He's good friends with Vanessa, our hostess from Edge of the Rabbit Hole. So he asked us if we could play a EVP for him to get the opinions of others about what this is. And it's really kind of an interesting clip. A little bit of setup for this show. Shana and I actually will not be able to hear the EVPs that we're playing tonight. We know what they are because we've heard them many times before, except this particular one we've each heard for the first time today. So I know what I thought of it, and so I'll be interested to get Shauna's opinion, but let me go ahead and play it for you. Here we go. So I think this is just going to give you a black screen when I do this. So we'll see. And I don't see it as actually playing the MP3. Okay. Well, let's try this again. So, media source. I added the MP3. I don't know why it's not playing. Well, I guess we're not going to be able to do Dennis's clip because for some reason it's the same thing I do for every piece of audio, and it's just not playing. So, all right. Well, Dennis, I'm sorry. It's not playing for whatever weird reason.
It's Frontier's fault.
We'll blame it on Frontier. I'm sorry. Basically, what it was they were taking a Bible from their one location and moving it to another. They were trying to get the attention of a reverend that haunts there. And when they were about to leave, and as they walked out, there was all this singing going on in the background. So, very interesting EVP. Tom McNicholas is saying that we're haunted tonight. Yeah. Something crazy is going on. Heather Atkinson, when it rains, it pours. Yep. I know these other ones work. So we'll get into these. So let's get into Beardstown. That's kind of our most recent one. We'll get into your creeper. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we'll start right with that. Here we go.
So I want to go back,
Oh yeah, I know. I want to go back now because of that.
And see if it was, are you laughing at me or are you just laughing?
Right. All right. Let's play the clip real quick.
If there's somebody human in here, you don't have permission, so you need to get lost.
All right, so that was the deep laugh. We'll play it a second time so you guys can hear it. So it's creeperish.
If there's somebody human in here, you don't have permission, so you need to get lost.
Yeah, like B3 Aerospace saying low creeper laugh. So,
Yeah, it sounded like, your typical, like commercial haunted house or scary movie laugh, you know? Like, if I would have heard that out loud, 99% of me would have assumed that someone had gotten in the building, knew who we were, that we were there, and were like just messing with us,
yeah.
Because when do you usually hear a laugh like that? you know?
Yeah, it was very ho 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 ho. I have to put up Periscope.
But right before that, we had just heard somebody moving around, and where we were at, there was a lot of energy in that area of the room more than any other area. So
yeah, it seemed like right between the stage and that first row, there definitely seemed to be a lot going on there because you got poked a couple of times too.
Yeah, and then there was a lot of energy there at some points rather than other points. Well, in the video there, it kind of felt like someone took like a vibrating something and just stuck it, on the back of my head. It was really a really strong vibe, and I had to kind of like shake it off, for a minute because it was definitely lingering, but then it went away. So.
Yeah, that was that one where you kind of, you almost like laughed. And there was a creak on the stage, and then all of a sudden you're like, like that. And so Tom McNicholas with a $10 super chat. He says, so Mike can get some more technical skills. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. So, yeah, they're all wondering if I brought something home from the seminary, if that's messing with the equipment. So I think
I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah, the audio back from that will be interesting. Haven't had time to go through it yet. Just have had a lot going on. Of course, I'm going to be traveling here tomorrow, and you can already see from the bags under the eyes. Last night I was recording Friday Night Ghost Frights, and here it is, guys. I was set up to record Friday Night Ghost Frights, sat down, went through the whole thing, and then realized I forgot to hit the record button. That's the kind of week it has started out to be. So, all right, that is our creeper laugh. Now, that same investigation, as we had wrapped up. We had already did the sign off on the video and all of that, and I was turning to you to ask you about texting the caretaker or one of the people that works there or whatever to come back and lock up after we left. And we got this weird slurping sound, which I don't even know what you want to call this. Did you text her?
How?
I'll play it again.
Did you text her?
How?
So, yeah, what is that? Shana, any idea?
Maybe it's the same thing that's doing the creepy laugh.
Could be the same thing as doing the creepy laugh, yeah.
Because that was a pretty loud noise. That and the constant tapping noise on the camera. It's another one.
Yeah, that was another one where it was the IR camera, and we really just had it set up, capturing the back of our heads in the stage area. And we're just sitting down there trying to do a ghost watch, which was near impossible because of how much external noise there was. And you just heard like this constant tapping on the camera for
a while.
It was a couple minutes, yeah. Totally unexplainable. And then when you said you thought you felt something off to the left, that's when it stopped.
Right.
So, B3 Aerospace is saying vaping is that loud. We have... I don't know if vaping's been around long enough for somebody to be a ghost and haunt by vaping. I don't know. at least the ghost there, because that building, the theater, the opera house, dates to the, what was it, 1873, I want to say, was when it was built. And it also dates earlier than that because there used to be a hotel on that spot. And they used a lot of the bricks from the hotel to build the opera house. So you may also have some haunts there, some spirits there from the old hotel. So we don't know yet with this location if this is what we're witnessing. Are we witnessing something to do with the opera house, something to do with the hotel, or even things after the opera house? Because they stopped using it for performances in the late 1890s, I want to say 1898, 99, something like that. So for over 100 years, it's been other stuff. So you never know. But it sounds like you want to go back.
I want to see if we can get that same laugh. I mean, I really, I've heard a great many things. I have heard everything from one end of the rainbow to the other with the EVPs, but I've heard some creepy stuff before, but I've never had that.
Yeah, that was really different. So we'll have to set it back up. So Donna from Tom, thank you for shenanigating the chat, Donna. Do you have the EVPs from the fountain at Mineral Springs? Yes, we do.
Yes.
So, and I think I forgot to mention at the very beginning of, well, when you guys could actually finally hear me, that this episode is actually a request from Tom McNicholas as being a deep down the rabbit hole Patreon patron. One of their perks is to be able to request topics for the shows. So the EVP episode was at his request. A couple of weeks ago, but I already had in the works the episode that we did last week on the photography. So this seemed to go, great piggyback from the photography to EVPs.
Definitely.
So we'll go ahead and get into that then, since Tom's asking. Okay, let's get out the Mineral Springs EVPs. It's a little bit of a longer clip. Here we go.
So, we know you're here. Thanks for talking to us. Did you hear it?
I just heard that again.
You heard that you're welcome, like that kind of thing. It's very much like a ghost box.
It's interesting.
That is so.
Yep. Can you tell me something else, please?
I just heard a voice.
Mm-hmm. Please tell me something about you. What?
Yeah,
Anything. Anything. We can hear you.
Where are you from? Where are you from?
Why are you here? You don't know?
I just heard something over there.
Yeah, I heard
Yep.
you got a tap or something down in there. There's some movement back in there.
You see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
How old are you? 30?
I thought I heard 33.
33?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, a little bit of a longer clip. Those of you who have seen our Voices of Mineral Springs video probably recall that. And, that was... this actually gets into the methodology of capturing EVPs, which is something I did want to get into. Not just, here's us playing back EVPs, but also different methods in recording EVPs. And this one was a method that our friend Lee Ehrlich was showing us. And Lee is his big thing is diving. He's always been around the water. He dives down into underwater wrecks. He does deep sea salvaging, even regular like rescue work, like somebody drives their car into the water. He helps with that sort of thing. But he has experienced paranormal activity down in old shipwrecks, and so this is one of the methods that he's used to be able to get EVPs off the water. So Andrew Cox with the $10 super chat says, "Frontier Internet, you are fired by Donald Trump." Thank you, Andrew. So Shana, I know when we did this, and I actually clipped this segment out that I'm about to describe because it just would have made the whole thing really long. you were hearing these things so clearly with your own ears, and even I was too, that you actually walked down there to. You're like, there's got to be somebody down there. So
Well, I mean, it was just when I think of all of the years that I've spent doing this, that I'd never thought to use water, and I've never used water. Um, even on the boat, whenever it was opened up, sometimes on the nights, whenever there were storms, or on the nights when it was windy in the waves, you could hear them, hear the river a little better. It was more active on those nights, and I never really thought about it until after using the water method at Mineral Springs, and that made me think of all the other times that I've ever been near water, but I never thought to use it, to open up
yeah,
and actually use it as that. So I was sure someone was in the building. Like there was something from outside, or there was something, like maybe the volume got turned up on that, TV, or there was someone just there, just messing with us, because the answers were so clear. It was like someone was just standing there just throwing out answers. And I've never really had it happen like that before, where it was just rapid fire, just one right after the other. I mean, they literally answered every question we threw out there.
oh yeah. I mean, you could hear it clear as a bell with our own ears, and I thought that was the amazing thing. And thank you down there in Periscope for the hearts and for inviting followers and all that. I really do appreciate it. But
it wasn't like just one of us was hearing it. We were all
we're all
hearing
hearing
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a disembodied voice, more than an EVP. Yes, it's you could say quote unquote water-based EVP that we're capturing. We got it onto our audio recorders, but we were hearing it with our own ears. Like you could hear with Leah and I, asking how old you are. He heard 30. He heard the first part. I heard 33, which was the whole number. So we're both hearing the same thing, So yes, definitely thanks for the hearts down there. Where are you from? St. Louis. I mean, yeah, you guys are hearing that on the playback, which we would call an EVP because it's an audio recording, but we were hearing that with our own ears,
And we were confirming it, saying
yeah,
it out loud, so you could tell. And then I was like, there is no way in the world, that it is that easy. I mean, when does this ever happen? Now I've heard answers to questions out loud before, but it's so random. And usually it's just one, and in the amount of years that I've been doing this, I can count it on one hand that I've actually heard it out loud where someone else has heard it too.
yeah,
you know.
yeah. There were several instances of that, where we're just confirming back with the audio clip that yes, those are things that we actually heard with our own ears. And I know that I wasn't there for the first Vandalia investigation, but I guess Lee had set up in the back room using the sink, a similar sort of thing. So you want to describe that a little bit, how he did that?
Yeah, and we were all hearing stuff, and literally we're talking like a 5 minute, maybe less, burst EVP session, and then he had his laptop there, and so he was able to load up what we just did in the computer and hit play, and I mean there was just answers to everything we threw out there. So I was like, there is no way, I didn't. I would have never thought of it. So but yeah, in Vandalia, I would love to have some source of water, on every floor.
Well, I'll have to bring that little fountain if we can get a power source up there.
Yeah, because it's that easy. I mean, Lee's been, I'm glad that he was there. Because
so thanks to Tom for the super heart down there in Periscope. Really appreciate that. So, okay. So Susan McFadden asks, "Do you plan to use grid lights or motion detectors on your expeditions?" We do. We do have the grid lights. Occasionally, we use it. You don't see them a lot in video that we actually put out there, just because you end up only seeing like a whole massive green grid and really nothing else. Green grid on black background. So we'll show a couple clips of it. I don't really get a lot with it. So when we use it on an investigation, I'll show a couple clips of it on the video, and that's about it. Although we will have used it for a longer period of time. And the motion detector, the investigation that was it last month at Ohio State Reformatory, I've been using the motion detectors, but that one getting some interesting interactions with it. One that was missed by the live stream because of the crappy connection. That it was great because it went from the K2 that was set up there to the motion detector, and basically the feed cut out after the K2, and you guys didn't see the motion detector kick off. So it was kind of interesting. So, but this particular episode is on EVP, so that's what we're featuring tonight, are our different EVPs. And there's Sean Gilmore in the chat. Dripping water can make sounds, so you think that they're hearing something that isn't really there. It's actually what it is when you have the like the fountain going in between the lup 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 lup. That's when you hear the voices. And so those water-based EVPs that we were playing, that's where we were catching them, where we were getting the St. Louis and 33 and I don't know and that sort of thing is where we're showing up. So, all right, where shall we go next with the next EVP? You want to talk about the goldenrod a little bit?
Sure.
All right. So this one is Shana's. It's me interviewing her when I first met Shana. But in a couple of the videos, she's describing an EVP that she had captured, and so I interspersed that within the interview that I was having with her. So here we go. Goldenrod.
I have an audio of Captain Minky saying my name. It was also the side that I was going on whenever I said that I missed him and he said it back.
It's Shana, Captain Minky. I've missed you. It's Shana, Captain Minky. I've missed you.
All right. So that was the Miss You clip. Want to talk about that a little bit?
I wasn't expecting that one. Anytime I would go down into the showroom, I could always feel his energy in there. We literally were going to be investigating the cafe that night, and we basically just made a pit stop just to check in on the boat and see how everything was going, and just do a walkthrough and make sure everything was locked up. And I was alone whenever I went down into the showroom, and it was basically just to say hello to Captain Minky, and I hadn't been in there for a little bit, so I, whenever you start spending a lot of time, somewhere and interacting with the same spirits, you kind of develop a little bit of a bond, so I had missed his energy, and so I said that out loud, and then that I didn't hear anything out loud, then we went to the cafe. I almost got rid of that audio because I was like, it was like 5 minutes. Surely there was nothing in that 5-minute clip.
Never know.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, let's just listen to it. So we're in the cafe, me and my friend Rita and Jake Medford. And we were sitting around, sitting at the table in the dining area, had candles lit. And I just set the recorder up and hit play. And we were just kind of listening. And then that came on, and we all just kind of, sat forward. It was like, did we all just hear what I think we heard, And I was like, I'm not going to say what I thought I heard, but what do you guys think you heard? And so, and I will never part with that EVP, ever.
No.
So.
They have Captain Minky right there saying that he misses you. So.
Well, and then the thing is that
and it's clear.
Yeah, the boat's historian, Barbara, she didn't visit too often, but, we saw her a handful of times, or at least I did. The next time I saw her, I told her that I had something for her that I wanted her to listen to. And now, mind you, I had never met Captain Minky before. I've never seen the man face to face. I've never talked to him. I've never heard his voice. So
Right.
I didn't have anything to compare it to. I was speaking directly to him and got a response. So I had to assume on my own that that was him. But whenever I didn't give a lead in to Barbara, I didn't tell her anything. I just said, I have something, I want you to listen to it. And she did know Captain Mankey, and she had met him and heard his voice. And so, her question to me was, how did you get Bill's voice on your recorder?
Right.
And it's like,
It's
and
what
then
you
I
do as a
explained.
paranormal investigator.
Yeah, and then I explained. She goes, wow, because she, I didn't tell her what she was going to be listening to. But then when she heard his voice, she, was able to positively, ID his voice for me, and she's actually heard it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great to have that kind of confirmation. Somebody who that actually knew him say that's his voice. So interesting question from Tom McNicholas. I know Donna's throwing some others up here. Thank you for Cheshire. I guess she put in there earlier. She is doing the Cheshire Cat chat, so that's cool. Okay, so you shenanigate the chat. She Cheshire Cat chats the chat.
Works for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so Tom McNicholas, I was asking about Shana hearing your spiritual guide through EVPs, if that was possible. That's a really good question. Maybe.
Whenever he asked me that question, I tagged Donna Gordon, I tagged her, and I tagged Missy, and I tagged Donna Nunnally, and I tagged Vanessa. I tagged everybody, because, I personally wouldn't know my spirit guide if it walked up to me. Everybody keeps telling me, oh, you need to do that. You need to meet. I would love to, I
Yeah.
personally wouldn't know who it was. They'd have to tell me, I've seen spirits. I've seen, I've seen all kinds, I've seen all kinds of, and I've heard, but I never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
So, and then Tim Schoen, what's the scariest EVP captured to date? Let me play that. And that one is going to be from the Haunted episode. So this was before I met Shana.
This is a chance to reveal yourself, and we command you, by the holy powers, by the angels that visit this house. This is a chance to reveal yourself, and we command you, by the holy powers, by the angels that visit this house.
Okay, so I used a couple of my photos to lay out the scene because, I'm not really supposed to use their video clip. But that is my EVP. Now, the weird thing about this is that if you watch the episode, it's Monster in the Closet. That was on The Haunted. That aired on Animal Planet. It's now in syndication right now. You can actually watch it syndicated in France as well. So if you want to watch me speak in French, which is really weird because it's a third person's voice over me in French, you can do that too. So the show depicted that we got that die EVP while we were investigating. We investigated that place like 5 times. Of course, the show only showed us investigating it once, and they said that we got the die EVP there, which wasn't true. We got all kinds of EVPs while we were investigating. We got that die EVP when Taliesin had come into the house. She was the girl that was having all kinds of problems with the red-eyed entity in her closet. She had come in to use the restroom, and then when she was done, she was talking at something at the wall, basically saying, why are you here? Why do you keep doing this? Et cetera, et cetera. And this was happening in the master bedroom. So Carl Johnson, who's with us, goes in there. We were doing a cleansing of the house anyway. So he starts doing a blessing over her, and that's when she doubled over in pain like that, and I got that EVP that said, die. She ended up falling to the floor. We picked her up. She was okay a moment later. And then we had all kinds of other crazy stuff going on. Like the back door started blowing open. The tri-field meter that we had set up by her closet where she was getting a lot of the activity started chirping like crazy. So a lot of things going on at that time. But that die EVP was right there where she got punched in the gut. So obviously something nefarious and nasty, the entity that we were trying to push out, was physical with her right there. So that would be, for me, my scariest EVP to date. So it was just the EVP itself was menacing. Nothing happened to me. I was a witness to all of this, but it was definitely, something that was, happening physically to her. So, and yeah, you guys are saying that it sounds really creepy. Yeah, it was. It was definitely very creepy, and I don't know why they moved that within the show, because it's definitely extremely powerful where it was placed. So. Okay, so from Donna per Kayla Spears, is it possible water noise thins the veil to make it easier to hear? Well, that's a good question. So, water itself is charged, so that's why we usually consider it to be a good conductor for paranormal activity. Wouldn't you agree, Shana?
Yeah, I've noticed that places that are near or on bodies of water tend to be a little more active. I mean, look at Mineral Springs. The river's right there. The boat, the river's right there. I can't really say that about Vandalia, but, I know that water is definitely a good conductor. I think in the case of the fountain, it's kind of like another form of white noise. A way to kind of, I think that the spirits, might be using the water as energy. But I think for us, it's more of a white noise type of thing that just kind of sets the mood for, opening up a little better so that you can, hear what they're saying. Usually there's so much outside noise,
Right.
that if you focus on something like that, and it kind of helps you open up the channels a little bit. So, water's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have to agree. So thank you for all the hearts down there in Periscope. Definitely appreciate it. So another one that is mine that I wanted to throw out there, just because it's an interesting discussion piece. And that is, we had just investigating residents, and we're just setting up, and this is where I caught this EVP. And really, for the rest of the night, we didn't catch much of anything at all. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, and you'll figure out why we didn't catch much of at all.
Oh, yeah.
And he was the only dog and not barking.
Oh, yeah.
And he was the only dog and not barking.
Yeah, so one entity saying to another, one spirit saying to another, one ghost saying to another, whatever you want to call them, we shouldn't talk, we shouldn't talk. So they have an idea of what we're about to do, that we're going to go in there and try to interact with them, and they make this plan not to talk to us. So, and we didn't get much at all that evening either. So it worked. The plan worked. So it is a question that gets thrown at us, Shana, from time to time. Do these spirits know that there are other spirits within there? Do they interact with each other at all? And I think this is one that shows that they, in fact, do. What do you think?
I have, unfortunately, all the EVPs that I have are not in my possession, or else I would have proof of that also. At the cafe, we were constantly trying to get Byron to interact with us, and there were some times that I felt like we needed to ask permission, especially bringing toys and stuff like that. And so we did ask permission, and then, we could hear him chattering, kind of talking. I was using real time, like the amplifier, the real time audio. So I could hear just everything that was going on. And then I heard Byron say something, and it was up at the end, so I could tell it was a question, but I couldn't hear his words. And then I hear a man whisper, like, take a deep breath and let it out, and then say, go. And then the next thing I hear is him running, and I hear a little giggle, and then I hear we had like a toy train at the bottom, at the foot of the ramp, which always makes noise when someone steps on it. So we heard that, the creaking of the ramp, and then could hear, him every once in a while, but the train never moved. It sounded like you found it, but it never moved on our end.
Interesting.
So that's always been my question. I mean, I know that they see, and I know that and I've seen them move stuff before, but is it always, going to be that way? Or, can they sense or see, can something be in two places at the same time?
Right.
Be manipulated on one side, but not be visible, on the other. It sounded like you found it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely very interesting. And yeah, can it be in two places at the same time? And I've had that question thrown, can they haunt two different locations that are, many miles apart or whatever? So I think that kind of plays into it as well. But okay, I've missed something down there. But yeah, so that's an excellent question. And I should note that we have the Miss You from Shana, but we're not playing a lot of Shana's because her computer is down at the moment. So so we're playing from our collection, and I had the one from Shana already. So, and again, thank you for the hearts down there in Periscope. So
there are some others, EVPs. If you look on YouTube, the group that I was in before with my friend Rita was called Calhoun County Paranormal. If you do a search of CCP Rita and look at her channel, that's got a lot of our cafe EVPs, and there's a bunch. Yeah. Not just of the cafe, but of other places too. So
this is an interesting question from Tom. Do you ever play EVPs in reverse to see if anything is there? I tried that a few times a long time ago. So get a clip of something that, okay, there's something there. I can't make out what it's saying. And yeah, try it in reverse to see if it's in reverse. I never got anything doing that. So I stopped trying. Only did it a few times. And there's so much material that you go through, so you end up making decisions of what you're going to try and what you're not going to try. So I haven't tried doing that in a long time. But Shana, I don't know if you've tried that.
I've never done that, but I have played EVPs that I've captured for spirits and asked them, on the follow-up trip if that was them. Who's this that I'm talking to?
Oh, yeah.
We were just here. I asked you this. I asked somebody this question, and somebody answered. Who is this?
Yeah, because that works like a trigger object, like, bringing in a photo of somebody that's supposed to be there, so yeah, that using a EVP like that, you could go in there, use that as a trigger object to try to generate more EVPs. So, thank you, Donna. Per Mary Caldwell, is it possible for spirits to come through an area that's not a floodplain? Sure. I mean, spirits come through most anywhere. So, yep. Floodplain. I guess what we're saying with that, like with Shana, where you're originally from, Campsville, which is definitely a floodplain, it's more conducive because you have some different elements there that help you out. Like the water helps. The limestone bluffs there by Campsville help. I mean, so you imagine water, limestone bluffs, all kinds of stuff is going on there. So those things help, but you can get activity in places that are not as well. So, or it used to be a floodplain. Well, sure. Again, anywhere. I mean, what you may get from some place that used to be a floodplain are EVPs that relate to the water. So, somebody may be talking about the water, that, maybe it's a dried up waterbed now or out in the desert now, but it used to be a floodplain. And so you may get some odd EVPs that are like, why are you talking about water? There's nothing around here, but, there used to be. So that's just taking the history into context. So, since we're talking about Campsville, I got a couple from the grade school. And so the first one is not what you would call an EVP because it's not a voice, but it is an interesting audio clip. So we can talk about some other audio aspects as well. And Shauna, these are the footsteps.
Upstairs.
I know.
Upstairs.
That's what I mean.
I'll play that for you guys a second time.
Upstairs.
I know.
Upstairs.
That's what I mean.
Okay, so not an EVP, but interesting audio evidence because we were hearing those footsteps all the time. I mean, they're very, very distinct. And that led us on a merry chase to go and try to find what may have been there before that had a second floor, because that building doesn't have a second floor, and those footsteps were coming from upstairs. Shauna's father got us into the attic up there, and it's just, rafters and blown insulation. There's no flooring up there whatsoever, just for somebody to be walking along to make footsteps. So, Shauna, you've investigated there many times, and it seems like you've always heard those footsteps there.
Yeah. And that was another thing, like Donna Buxbaum, who I don't know if she's in chat or not tonight, but when she went there with me, she heard them too. So, and she was like, well, what's up there? It's like, well, there's nothing up there. It's just crawl space. It's rafters. It's, there's nothing there. And in research found that there wasn't, as far back as we could go, and we still couldn't find anything. So it had to be something that was there before it was documented, and who knows, how you would find it, at that point. The high school, had 2 floors, but it wasn't right there on that property. So
yeah, it was adjacent. It was off to the side, but it did have 2 floors. So that's one of the questions that we've thrown out there. Is it possible that some spirit that may have been, maybe back when the high school was there, it was haunting the second floor, the high school goes, and maybe because this other building is over there, it sees it, goes over there and starts to haunt that. So the energy shifted over there. I don't know.
Because the building that's over where the high school was, it's only got 1 floor too.
Right, yeah, because they ended up putting that piece on there, I guess, originally to be your cafeteria.
It was my first and second grade classroom.
Oh, it was a classroom. Okay.
And cafeteria.
And cafeteria. Okay. All right. Yeah, so it's really, really kind of hard to say. I would like to lean more toward the undocumented building, just because, energy and spirits can move around. They can shift from one place to another. That particular idea just seems a little odd in that case, because of the fact, there is another little building there, and I don't know what kind of period of time was between them tearing down the high school and then putting that little addition on there. I have no idea. So, Donna Gorn saying never knew Shauna attended there. Well, there you go. And Mary saying instant thought is residual, and that's pretty much. And Sean Gilmore saying the same thing. Residual footsteps. That's pretty much what we are thinking, is that they are residual footsteps. Anytime that we've tried to address what may be going on up there, gotten zero response. It's always just the footsteps. The issue is there's never been a second floor to that building. So, and just going back through the documentation that we do have, there's a high school there off to the side, not exactly where that building is. There was an archaeological dig at that site back, I think it was the 20s, Shauna, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah.
So they basically put the school on top of the archaeological dig site, but before that, we haven't been able to find any records of anything standing there before.
There was a 1-room, another schoolhouse there, but it only had one. It was much smaller. And it had like a bell house, bell tower. I remember seeing that in one of the books that Emerson had.
Mm-hmm.
But it was smaller, and it was just one story. And then they were going to put, the current school there, but they had the dig going on, and that went on, for a little while because, they were finding stuff. So, and then they had to, and then they put the school on top. So, I mean,
Yeah, Sean is suggesting maybe it's the spirit of a kid who was like the kid on the Never-Ending Story, would hide up there to read and get away from the bullies. The problem with that is this isn't like an attic from a Victorian historic house or something like that. It's basically just you have to use a ladder to get up there. The little hole is up in the ceiling. It's just rafters and blown insulation, so there's nothing there for anybody to really hang out in, and there's nothing to walk on. So it just it just doesn't make any sense. So,
we don't really classify that as a haunting.
No, we don't classify it as a haunting. It's just residual energy that's playing back.
In other parts of the building, there is definitely some intelligence there.
There's some intelligence there. And I do have another clip from the gym in which there's an indiscernible voice. And then as you get whatever buzz and take off, you hear bye. So let's play that clip.
Appreciate you making the sound again, but I was in a different place this time. Can you stay in one spot and do that so we can find you? I'd like to talk to you. You alright? What did you feel?
Well, I felt like I was going to throw up back there, and then I got a headache, and then I started coming towards this way, and the headache went away.
Okay. So, yeah, I remember that one troubled you, and you actually went to a place that already you don't feel good at.
Yeah, I don't like that back area at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, the energy kind of buzzing around. I wouldn't say that I wasn't scared of it, and I wasn't, it was just, whatever it was, wasn't happy.
Yeah.
It was strong, and it was just, I was no longer comfortable to stand there with it. I wasn't worried for myself or worried, but just, it's not like being sick either. It's just like, it's just a negative feeling, like your body just feels bad. It's almost like being sick, but not being sick. You don't have the symptoms, but you're just like blah, and you just want to get away from it. So, but unfortunately, I started walking towards.
You're walking towards a spot you don't like to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I don't like that area back there.
Yeah, and people are saying they heard the bye. Tammy Heights Mid, Zippy, they're saying they heard the bye. So there are a couple of questions here about the archaeological digs. So Mary Caldwell's asking, so the dig could have stirred them up, and B3 Airspace was the archaeological dig for. So there's a lot of Native American culture in that area, and so this was a archaeological dig site for Native American artifacts, which are on display at the museum there in town, and I guess in storage a lot around there too, from what you've told me.
There is a very large storage facility right next to the Campsville Landing / convenience store there, and as you're going out of town north towards the Goldenrod.
Real quick, you have to explain the yelling in the background. People are asking about it.
Oh yeah, that's my son.
Doing a little gaming back there, getting excited.
If you hear profanity, I apologize. He's 16, I really would rather that he didn't do that, but,
So in any case, yeah, the Archaeological Society, which has a number of buildings in town. You're saying, and you've told me before that like the building where the artifacts is haunted with whatever is attached to the artifacts.
Oh, I've got to be honest. If you walk up to the building and just get in its general vicinity or touch it, you can just feel the buzz just coming off at you. I know that at one point, for a summer, I was doing housekeeping and cleaning for all of the archaeology buildings, all of the dorms, the labs, and stuff like that. And it would not be uncommon to see one of the students with like some of the artifacts, or like a skull, or you know, and be like, whoa, walk in and see that. But yeah, I mean, every single one of those buildings, but especially that storage facility, man, that thing's got a lot of stuff in it.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I've been on the outside of it and touched it, but I've been told that there's just, shelving, just boxes, just, cases, just all kinds of stuff, displayed in there. And, there's a dig site behind the bank. Like if you go to like archaeology day they have in the summer, they'll give you a tour and let you see and even actually dig in the dirt and do, where the actual active dig sites are. So, and there's several spots.
Which is kind of interesting because they have what is it, an archaeology days there?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for a small town, there's 300 people? They have a lot going on there with archaeology, and it's great that they embrace that.
Yeah. I mean, if you go to the CAA, the Center for American Archaeology website, you can sign up, as a student, or, you can sign up and take their courses and stay in the town and do the digs, whenever they do them and everything. I mean, it's a little pricey, but I'm telling you, if you go do it, just for that, and you're kind of into the paranormal too, every single one of those buildings is crazy haunted. So
yeah. Sounds like he's having a good time in the background, by the way.
yeah, him and like 4 or 5 of his closest friends.
It's okay. B3 Aerospace is saying, I have to say, Mike and Shana, those are the clearest EVPs I've heard in a long time. You go, guys. Well, thank you. We've got some good ones over the years.
I'll have to get access to the other ones, or you guys you'll have to go to the CCP Rita YouTube channel, because I've got to be honest, and we just stick them up there just as they are. They just get loaded in, put on the channel. And that's it. There's no, we didn't enhance anything. I mean, it is what it is. If there's background noise, there's background noise, but we've got some pretty good ones on there, like full sentences and all kinds of goodies.
Yeah. All right. This one is, I guess it's come from Donna. Test digs happen prior to construction. They do these days. So back when that construction happened, there weren't those kinds of regulations. So the dig itself happened back in the 20s. The school was built in the later 1930s. So they weren't digging prior to constructing the school. They were dig for archaeological artifacts. And then they ended up putting the school on top of where they dug, basically because they had open space. It was. To me, that's always been kind of weird, because you can see the terraces in the back from where they did the dig, and then basically the school's put in it. So you imagine the basement is like right in the dig site. The gym floor is right there level with one of those terraces. So it's, to me, it wasn't a smart idea to do that, but I don't think they thought of those things back then. Yeah, it's now worldwide law, but no, not in effect back then. Right? Yeah, it's back then. It wouldn't have been. Okay, so We're at our hour mark. Let me throw another one at you guys because we've had a little back and forth on what this particular EVP may be. I know Shauna's even had her sons listen to it to try to figure it out. So this is from the Jacksonville house up in your favorite room, Shauna. So we'll throw this at you guys real quick. What do you guys think? I mean, I hear the word tomorrow in there. There's some other words that seem like they're in there. So it's like a full sentence. Shauna, I don't know if you remember what you thought it was, but this is that room where we refer to it now as the Jacksonville. What do you say? Jacksonville feel or Jacksonville buzz or what your term for it?
Yeah, anything I feel, I always compare it to that now.
Yeah, down there in Periscope, she's suggesting it's hot out. Maybe. But yeah, you tend to have this like Jacksonville buzz is what you related to.
Yeah, because there was, that one room, and it's not as bad now that there's stuff in there, but when it was empty, God, it was like, it's like if you drink, a lot and you just really start, buzzing, like it was like that. It was like being hooked up to something with like this big charge, and it was just really bad in some spots where you just had to walk away from it. Mm-hmm. But it was like that. It had that just low level of that kind of energy in the house, in those rooms in the house. But there were just certain times whenever it was just almost unbearable. That next day, I was almost hungover. Just the amount of energy and for as long as it went on. So it doesn't surprise me that, the stuff that we caught there.
So we have a couple suggestions here. Samuel Hall saying, I heard, or thinks he heard, I will see you tomorrow. Mary Caldwell saying, I heard tomorrow at the very end, like I asked for them to come back tomorrow. Patricia Newton is suggesting, why don't you smile? Somebody I missed it down in Periscope, said drained you, something about draining. So Sean Gilmore is asking us to play it again, so we'll play it again. All right, and I'll play it one more time. Okay, and Amy down in Periscope is saying that she agrees that it's tomorrow at the end. So, and that seems to be the general consensus, is that tomorrow is the final word. Jen K is saying sounds like come back tomorrow. Zippy Davis is saying I'll see you tomorrow. So, Katie Palmer is saying gone tomorrow. So something tomorrow. I think we're all in agreement on that. So Sean Gilmore saying, why are you smiling? So there's another one with smiling. So I'm not sure I hear smiling. But, yeah, Sean is saying he doesn't hear tomorrow. Everybody else is saying they hear tomorrow. See, this is like one of the really interesting things about doing this is how different people hear different things. So, and see, I could throw that one up there too. Let me do this one too, because I had this in the queue. You know which one I'm going to do. So this is from Black Bear Cemetery, and I was out there. We had already finished up the investigation. The two other people I were with were already back in the car. I was just walking through the headstones one last time, and I caught this really weird EVP. So, Discord threads is saying on the morrow. Interesting. Okay.
Can't get warm. Can't get warm.
So what about that one? What'd you guys hear? I always hear my teeth are warm. So I'll play it one more time for you guys.
Can't get warm. Can't get warm.
So what do you think of that one? Sean Gilmore saying he blasted his TV too. That's funny. Discord threads is saying I can't get warm. I always hear teeth. Some people have told me that they hear I can't get warm, but I never hear the get. I don't hear the k or the g sounds. I don't hear those sounds in there at all. I hear the t, which I guess would be the end of can't. Maybe is where you're getting the t. So I don't know. I've been listening to this EVP for 8 years now. And I always get my teeth are warm. So, B3 Airspace is saying, keep it warm. Paige Lee is saying, keep warm. Interesting. Keep warm. Andrew Cox, keep it warm. So, now we've got a mix there. Okay. But nobody hears teeth. Okay. I hear teeth. I don't know. Imlabuda 61 can't get warm. Samuel Hall is can't get warm. Okay, interesting. I don't hear the k and I don't hear the g. But you guys do. So there you go. All right. So I think that'll be, I'll play the last one. There is one more I think left here, right? So actually there's one from Liberty as well. We'll just do them real quick. We have them here. So we got a few minutes, right?
Sure.
All right. So this is the other one from that same cemetery, a different investigation. And you'll hear me making an observation about the grave. You'll hear one of the other investigators say, kind of course, just like saying, yeah, kind of as I'm describing. And then you hear an affirmation from somebody else of what I've described. So... that's up here at the top. Okay.
The second marker for John right here from the Navy. So he's got 2 markers. There's a second marker for John right here from the Navy. So he's got 2 markers.
So I always liked that one. So basically, I'm just making an observation that he has 2 different headstones here. One is basically his civilian headstone. And then he's got the military one, and as I make that observation, Dustin, who's with us, says, and then you hear the spirit say, correct, just basically affirming the 2 headstones. So I always really liked that one. And then Sean is saying he likes the show, very interactive, likes listening to EVPs. So yeah, so you can thank Tom McNicholas for the EVP idea. He asked for this show. Yeah, and you guys heard correct. Yeah, that one's pretty distinct. And then our last one, this one is at Shana. This is when we were chasing the kids at Liberty High. So there's basically the bang from the bathroom, and then we caught a voice in the bathroom.
Oh.
Hello.
That was big. Hello.
How are you?
Well, are you in there? I mean, I don't want to, if you're doing your business.
So, yeah, we caught Find Me there. And basically, Shauna, it was like all up and down that hallway. We kept seeing movement from one end. We'd go down there, and then we'd see it back at the other end. And when we were there by those bathrooms at one time, we hear the bang of the stall door and then the Find Me EVP. So that was kind of fun trying to basically play hide and seek with them.
Yeah, and then, there were the 2 rooms side by side. And then the one of them had a lot of energy in it. And then the same thing, like we were getting ready to wrap up, and then it was like, oh, hello, I mean, but yeah, just you could tell it was a kid of some kind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there was definitely a bit of chase, going on. It's like, no, we're here, no, we're over here, now we're over here. So it was just like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then finally, it was just like, look, you come over here, I'll go at the other end, and see what happens. So.
Interesting. B3 Aerospace is saying that she heard "Get Out, then find me." Interesting. I'll have to listen back through for the "Get Out." Yeah. So Zippy says, "Got to be happy they got some interaction." Well, absolutely. Getting that type. I mean, that's what we're there for. We're there to learn about them, interact with them, and anything that they tell us, is potentially a moment that we can learn something. So, yeah, we have a great time with that. So, I'm tired. I really am. Thank you for the hearts down there at Periscope. Do appreciate it. So that was all the ones that I had lined up. Discord Threads is asking any places not to miss at St. Joe's. A little off topic, but for St. Joe's, I would say you do not want to miss the third floor of the patient wing. So that has the labor and delivery, and it has the psych ward.
That's my favorite floor, hands down.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there, and really, anytime I walk in there, I do get a very creepy feeling. I was in there alone a couple weeks ago, and I was doing a lot on the second floor because there was a part of our video where it looked like somebody was just like very briefly peeked around the corner, so I was investigating down that hall, and I wasn't getting anything, so decided to go up a level, and it was like like I said, I was finding the second floor, walk into the third floor, and it's like, okay, yeah, something's here, it's creepy. So, per Susan Stack, thank you, Donna, do you ever get scared?
I do.
Shana does.
I do sometimes. But there's a lot of times, if the energy is just too strong and it just, I deal with vertigo anyway.
Yeah.
But whenever something's really close and the buzzing, and the tingling and everything starts, there's just sometimes I just can't hang. And sometimes it gets really strong. Sometimes at Mineral Springs, I get a little, I always want to make sure I have certain stones, on me to kind of deflect that a little bit. Because if I don't carry anything with me and just open everything up, I have to have blinders on, and I have to have somebody behind me because I can't look in my peripheral at anything. I can't. It just feels like there's constantly, so that disturbs me a lot.
Question down there in Periscope, I think it said Jennifer Lopez, so J-Lo, asking about do we do live investigations like on Periscope or YouTube? Yes, we do our live investigations on YouTube. In fact, we just had one on this past Friday at Madison Seminary. Whenever we do Mineral Springs, we go live from there a lot. We've done live investigations from Ohio State Reformatory, a number of different places, so Milton School. So yeah, we try to go live whenever we can. We also have on our YouTube channel a lot of other just full investigation videos. Of course, there's the shows that we have, Edge of the Rabbit Hole, Inside the Upside Down, and we have Friday Night Ghost Frights. But yes, we do live investigations as well.
So subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell.
There you go. Like Shana said, subscribe to the subscribe to the Haunted Road Media YouTube channel. So youtube.com/Haunted Road Media. And as far as getting scared, I haven't been scared during an investigation. Well, it wasn't an investigation in any case. I'll say that I have not yet been scared during a paranormal investigation. I did get scared when I was younger as a kid because I was a kid and things were happening. And it's kind of funny. We had Brandon Kreitzer on here a couple months ago, and What's he doing? He was like trying to say, "Well, maybe I haven't been on enough investigations." And I like Brandon. I've known him for years, but it's like, dude, been doing this type of stuff for 25 years. You know, it's
Brandon's been scared,
you.
so yeah. Well, there's an audio of that somewhere.
Yeah.
Him screaming
So,
like a girl.
hey, I gotta highlight this. Sean Gilmore down there saying, "I don't like to ask if they know that they are dead or anything like that." I absolutely agree with you. Completely respectful. That's one of the reasons why I like investigating with Shana. I've hooked up with EVP a couple times there. Yeah. We don't address that at all.
Yeah, please. I'm just going to say, if you're at the, like I have no control over public investigations, but if you're there with me and you know, don't ever ask that in front of me. I'll call you out. I really will. I'll be like, what in the world? Why would you even ask? You know, you shouldn't ask. You should never ask that. Ever. I'll call you out. I'll pull you aside and I'll tell you that we don't do that. No.
Okay.
Because some of them may not know.
Right,
You know,
exactly. And yeah, so I don't ever. It may be, and it may be a very touchy subject with them. You know, they may know, and it may be very, say, upsetting to them. You know, so I don't talk to them about their death. If they want to let us know, then that's fine. But I won't address that. Yeah, you just ask what happened here or something like that.
You know, I heard that something, bad, negative might have happened to you. Can you tell me what happened?
Yeah, there's ways around it, but
here? There's definitely ways around it without asking.
Yeah. I've been in the unfortunate presence of somebody who just sat there during an EVP session and just was. And we're at a cemetery that the people, their graves had been desecrated twice over. And he's sitting there saying, "Well, you guys know you're dead, right?" It's just it was very condescending, very wrong and disrespectful, and I was done.
Like, I'm not going to say out loud who that was, but if I ever meet him someday.
It's all right.
Oh, yeah, he's going to know it.
Question from Kayla Spears. And we'll wrap it up here in a minute. But Kayla Spears' question. From my understanding, spirits won't talk about or answer questions regarding the afterlife. In your opinion, why do you think that is? Do they have rules or something keeping them quiet? I think a lot of us speculate that. Of course, we don't really know for sure. But because of the fact that, we'll ask all kinds of different questions. They'll talk about, they'll give us names. They'll give us, descriptions of different things. They'll give us history, whatever. One thing they don't give us a lot of information about is the afterlife. Even though we'll ask those sorts of questions, we don't get it. I mean, I think the closest we might really ever get sometimes are like temperature, like it's cold or something like that. So there may be some sort of rule in place that we don't know.
I've got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got one that happened at the cafe. When we were talking about and it was a new voice. There were about 7 different voices there in the cafe that you could hear at any given time, and you could tell the difference from all of them. So there was a new one on there. We were talking about one of the more creepier things that had happened in the evening, and where we finally grew a set and went back in the building. It was a little creepy. I'm going to be honest. I didn't want to go back in, but we went back in, and we were talking about what had happened, and somebody asked, the EVP was, "Why are you afraid of ghosts?" So, I mean, it was maybe somebody more modern, that, I mean, who knows? Well, there's paranormal investigating going on back in the 1800s.
There was.
Not quite as now, but, I mean, in that building, we could date that building back to the late 1800s. So, or I take that back, the property, that we knew what was going on the property back then. The building was in 1902, or 1905, 1902. But, why are you afraid of ghosts? Well, there you go.
There you go. So, I know we had another one up here. Okay, per Tina the Best. How do you tell if a spirit is negative or not? By the way that they are with you. You know, basically, if they were a jerk in life, they're going to be a jerk in death. So, as you're interacting, you'll figure that out. You know.
Yeah, there's, it's just like being around a human, in reality, like someone that's in your realm of existence. You can tell if someone's an asshole or not, or just by the energy or the way that they act. And it's the same, the same on an investigation too, really, because there's times where I'm just like, feel great. Then there are some times I, feel kind of sad, it depends on, who's around me and projecting that emotion. And then there's other times where it's just like, I cannot hang in this room, something is
Right.
and it's either angry or it's just, negative, or it's just, whatever it is,
Yeah, that's when you start booking to places where you don't usually like to go.
Yeah, I mean, the pool at Mineral Springs is a good example.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of hit and miss there for me because, most of the time it's good, but there is also some really nasty energy down there. And, you can I can hang for, hang for a while, down there, but then after a while, it's just like, no.
Yeah, there's that creeper down there. J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez 14 down in Periscope is asking, around what states do you investigate? So Shana and I, even though we are together, we are, for the moment, apart. So she's in Illinois, so we do a lot of stuff around the Illinois area. I'm in Ohio, so naturally I do a lot of things in Ohio. We do things in between as well. I do a lot of traveling, so I've investigated all over, this year, let's see, where am I headed? I'm headed all over this year again. So Virginia, Rhode Island, where else am I going? Iowa, because we're setting up something with Matt Bennett. They've asked me to do something down in Arkansas in August. So, yeah, we're all over. All right, so what else we got? Looking through the chat here. I thought I had seen one other thing. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. Fungi. If they are still on Earth, they are not in the afterlife per se. Well, they are, because they're no longer alive. So that would, whatever state that they're in is after their life. So it's just, there are different areas of the afterlife. Apparently, one of them is still here on Earth. Another, I mean, we don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. So is there, people talk about crossing over. So is there, if that happens, is there a place that they go to? What is that place? That's another part of the afterlife. If you believe in reincarnation, do you reincarnate straight from the moment you die here, which I don't believe, obviously, because we interact with these spirits all the time, or do you go someplace first and then reincarnate from there? So then that place would be a part of the afterlife. So, ever been to the Roth House in Watseka, Illinois? Shana?
No, but I am going to be looking it up as soon as I get done with this.
There you go. I know you've done quite a bit throughout the state, so I've been a little bit more limited since we've only been together for a couple of years. So, all right. So I guess that will be it. We'll go ahead and wrap this up, because I don't have any more EVPs to play, and our show ended 24 minutes ago. And then Sean's throwing out questions like, is this different levels of hell? Oh, man, now we're going to get into spiritual and religious conversations. Great topic for another time. maybe we'll do that then. Thank you guys for hanging out for this long. So an extra extended edition of Inside the Upside Down EVP episode. For those that tune into the podcast, the Mike Ricksecker audio journey, which includes the Inside the Upside Down episodes, you'll notice I did not include last week's episode on the spiritual photography because can't do photos on a podcast. So I just skipped that, but I put some original content out there to, for you guys. It's a little different. But this one will be going up onto the podcast here within the next couple of days. Also, there's an Edge of the Rabbit Hole podcast, and all those are on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, all that. Of course, this will be made available as an archive out here on YouTube, so you can go back and watch this later. Just depending on where you are, it may be better to watch, maybe better to listen, but it'll be available in multiple formats. So there you go. Thank you, as always. Shana, anything that we need to let them know before we sign off here? Maybe you want to talk about the event real quick?
Actually, since you're coming out to Illinois, everybody should watch for a live.
We should go live at some point, depending on what we're doing. So we do have a project that we're working on that we're not going to talk about because that'll be released later this summer, but it's a multi-part project, basically a series that we're starting to put together. It'll come out later this summer, but since we'll be together for 4 or 5 days, something like that, yeah, we'll go live at some point. So, yeah, Zippy, you should be able to show pics on there. I can't show pics on a podcast. It's just audio. Funny. All right, everybody saying goodnight. So again, thank you. The event, so, because that's what I asked you about, not about going live, silly.
Yeah.
So June 9th.
I'm tired.
I know. June 9th, Alton, Illinois, Haunted Road Media Paracon. It's at the Mineral Springs Mall, Mineral Springs Hotel, whichever one you want to call it. So we're having a bunch of Haunted Road Media authors out there. We're having Rob Guttrow, who was our guest earlier today, is going to be there. Chris Sutton, Lee Ehrlich, Adam Tiller, all kinds of people are going to be there. And then there's the Paranormal Investigation later that night. So I know a lot of you have already signed up, which is great. But if you haven't yet, check it out. The Haunted Road Media Facebook page, which has the event, and then you can also get all the information at hauntedroadmedia.com. So, all right, everybody. I'm Mike. That's Shana. Till next time. Wait, we got to go back. We got to go back. Mike screwed up. Because I saw it. Hey, I was looking in chat, but it was a little easier. Shoutouts. Oh my gosh. Because yes, we're tired and we're an hour and a half into the show. So okay, we'll do shoutouts real quick. So we got to thank Tom McNicholas for the show idea. Did we have super chats in here? Yeah. So super chat superstars Tom McNicholas and Andrew Cox. Thank you for the both of you guys had $10 super chats in there. Really do appreciate that as always. So all right. So Donna, thank you for being our Cheshire cat, doing the Cheshire cat chat. Fungi, thank you very much. Jen K, that's Linda Miller. Commander Gaming, thank you very much. Samuel Hall, thank you. You guys had some
Commander Game.
Oh, that's Connor, isn't it?
That's Connor.
Yeah.
Hi, Connor.
Hey, Connor.
That's my loud gaming son.
Yeah, so you heard him earlier. Awesome. Katie Palmer, thank you. Andrew Cox, we got Donna, Tom, Tina the Best, thank you as well. Zippy Davis, thank you very much. One of our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons, as is Beat 3 Aerospace, Tom McNicholas, Grizz, Pamela Queen, and BD Flint. Thank all of you guys for being fantastic Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. M. Labuda 61, thank you very much. Sean Gilmore, hey, EVP, Thank you. The Ectovision Paranormal spells EVP, and this was an EVP episode, so there you go. Thank you, Sean. Cheryl Midkiff, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Serenable, thanks for joining again. Diane Hilbert, thanks for hanging out. I know you're in the East, so that's a late night. Susan Sack. Jen K. Kayla Spears. Chipper Terry. Mary Caldwell. And who else do we have? Paige Lee. And let's see. Haunting History. Thank you for joining us tonight. Vegas Ghost Girls Paranormal Investigators. Thank you very much for joining us this evening live. Patricia Newton. And Lenora Martinez, Tim Schoen. And I'm going to scroll back down to the bottom. See if anybody else is up in here that I haven't mentioned. All right. I think I've got just about everybody. If I missed you, sorry. Of course, it's late. And I have to pack because I'm leaving tomorrow. So, all right. You guys have a great night. Now we'll do this correctly. Until next time.